Time to get on the right path with Right Path Real Estate Radio with Tom Perry. Get the answer to your question that's keeping you from taking action and succeeding today.
Welcome to the show.
You know, one of these days I'm going to turn the mic on when you're singing.
Oh, I thought it was on. It is on Facebook, just so you know.
Get ready. The guy that
the
will
Facebook
put your
folks, they
fears
can...
behind you is on the air now.
Okay, it's on now.
713-785-1817. Toll free 877-881-0271. Now here's your host, Tom Perry.
Hey, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Right Path Real Estate Radio. 713-785-1817. If you want to call in and ask any kind of questions. So we're actually monitoring a house right now.
We are.
That we've got live cameras, and I just want to give a shout out to Verizon, my Verizon rep, and we've got a camera at a property. There's a guy going and I guess he doesn't know that there's a camera there.
I can't imagine how he doesn't because it's very clear. But here's what I can tell you is what's awesome about these Arlo Go cameras is the fact that they're wireless and the fact that they run on battery and they're running on cell service. Most people, even if they do see the camera, they automatically assume it's not a real camera.
Correct.
Because there's no electricity, there's no internet, this property. It's
got to be a dummy camera.
Got to be a dummy camera.
Yep. And it's not. I mean, it's got really good video. It's not 4K or anything like that, but it's got good video, and we're watching it stream, and we're recording it and all of that. So
he's just left.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, he just left, right. Well, we assume he's just left.
Yeah, he could be leaving and coming back.
Well, we know that he at least got our message. He got it out the door, and he got it. So if he calls, great. If not, so and he's not... And
he's obviously not super observant because we had changed the locks once. He came and he bored out the locks so nobody could open the door.
Correct.
And we've since had him changed again.
Yep.
And we put a lockbox on.
Lockbox was there the whole time.
Yes.
In fact, what we said is, hey, if you want to have access to the lockbox, because we're not trying to lock him out, his stuff's inside the house.
Yeah,
right?
we want him to get the stuff out because everything he takes out is one less thing we have to pay to be removed.
Right, and I noticed he didn't take anything out.
He didn't.
No.
And so we put a note on the door with the new locks. It said, hey, if you want access to the lockbox, give us a call. Let's talk.
Yep.
And he removes the note, but goes back and tells his whoever's in the car, there ain't no key in that lockbox that works.
No, there is no lockbox because I drilled out
that B.
Yeah, I drilled out that lock, right.
So he obviously didn't even look close enough to see that it was a different lock that had been replaced.
Yeah,
so
our locksmith went out
maybe
there
he's just
and
not
changed
seeing the camera.
It's all about relationships because we called, our locksmith yesterday, and he stopped what he was doing and worked us into a schedule.
Yeah.
And great guy.
We've got a great locksmith.
We really do. Yeah.
I'd like to tell a real quick story about him if we could.
Of course.
I don't think he's a regular listener to the show, but so he's a super Christian man.
Yep.
Good values, good heart.
Correct.
He was at another property, one that we've been talking about quite frequently here the last few days.
Yep.
And they called the cops on him.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And, it was kind of this thing. You had to get on the phone with the police, got it situated.
Yep.
But there was a dog locked in his house.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And not only was this a house that a human shouldn't be living in, but a dog shouldn't have been living in there either.
Right, yeah.
So, he texts me and says, hey, there's a dog locked in here. What should I do?
Yeah.
And I just said, my response was, let it out.
Yeah, right, yeah. Right. Let it go.
So...
But better chance of surviving outside of that house.
So he texts me a little while later and he says, hey, can I take it? I said, I got no problem with that.
Yeah, of course.
Well, cops and everybody come. Everybody involved in the situation, they didn't want him there. They didn't want us changing the locks, but they had no issue with him taking the dog.
Right, yeah.
So he takes this dog.
Yeah.
Takes the next day, full day off work. This guy's got a family. He's a hard worker.
Right, he is.
Taking a day off work is no small feat.
You're right.
Mm-hmm. Took the whole day off work, spent the whole day at the vet.
Yeah.
Getting this dog vaccinated, dewormed. I mean, took it to the groomer, flea bath, the whole nine.
Yeah.
And he shows me some pictures that his wife took. He's asleep, passed out on the couch.
Yeah.
Dog's laid up right next to him, just as happy as can be.
Yeah, of course, right.
And when you see stuff like that, you're like, there are good people in this world.
Yes, there are.
And it's just, it's a pleasure to be able to work with him.
Right.
It really is.
Yeah. He's a great guy, that's for sure, and knows his stuff. I mean, so if anybody needs a good locksmith, if you want to email support at Right Path Real Estate,
I have no problem sharing his info, but
we don't get any kickback or anything like that. But when people do a good job for you, we want to be a service to the people that are in our family, so to speak. and we want to help him, and if that helps you, and so just email support@rightpathrealestate.com, support@rightpathrealestate.com, and just in the subject line, just put locksmith.
Yeah, not a problem. I'll share the info.
And the great thing is,
even if you're a wholesaler, and what's awesome about him is he doesn't have any problem using if you're not keeping the house, and you don't care, is this going to be a for the flip or for the renter? You don't care about the lock for long term. You just need it for short term. Right. Mm-hmm. He can do cheaper options as well. Mm-hmm. Used products, things like that, and he's great at what he does. So.
Because if you've ever known a locksmith, they have opinions like plumbers, like electricians, like anybody else. They have opinions like what they would put in their own house. And there's and again, I don't want to have he's a tenant being a locksmith, and I don't want to know locksmithing at that level, right? But if you just talk to somebody that knows that kind of stuff. At that level, you find out really quickly that the kind of locks like the quick set systems that you can get from Home Depot are different from like what he can buy.
Yes,
and it's the same thing with faucets.
Yep.
There are a lot of Chinese-made plastic parts and things like that in some of the really inexpensive faucets. Versus which if you're going to be in and out, in a property, you're not going to own it for very long, but you might want to go with a little bit better quality because there is a difference in quality. You get what you pay for. That you, if you're just shopping on price, and I'll never forget. When I had Fast Track, one of the things that I discovered is, let's face it, we building materials are made for the entire country.
Yeah.
And there's things that work here in Houston that you would never do like in Minnesota, for example. Like Hardy, for example. Hardy is, almost ubiquitous. I mean, it's everywhere, right? I mean, I think I don't know that I have a preference, a house made of Hardy versus a house made of brick. To me those are same. They're both I've seen some pretty cheap brick,
Absolutely.
Right. But Hardy, I mean, it's a lifetime siding material,
it's made to last forever.
It's made to last, but you would never, Hardy, if you installed Hardy on a house up in Minnesota, it would fail.
It's actually Minnesota.
Yeah. So it would fail. It wouldn't. And
why is that?
Well, because of how extreme the temperature is. Concrete doesn't do as well. It has to be done differently, and it fails. The extremes in weather temperature. Now, the other thing that's unique about Houston is that we have this expansive clay soil, and so it moves a lot. Well, if you're looking at thin set, for example, or the material that you set tile down on top of, well, they make two different types of thin set. They make a real cheap one, which is just a thin set that's it's a little bit like a version of concrete, right? But then they make a little bit more expensive one on a price per bag. Maybe it's $5 more per bag, something like that. And I forget how many square feet. I've been out of it for a while, but it's not that much more expensive. But it's certainly an additional cost.
Yeah.
Now, if you're just looking to cut corners and you don't care about the job that you're doing, so that thin set has like they call it an elastomer polymer coating.
Okay.
And it basically is like this like rubberized additive in it that gives a little bit of flex to the substrate,
which will allow some movement.
It allows a little bit of movement. So as the foundation moves, it moves a little bit with the foundation. Okay. Well, it makes sense that down here, Home Depot says, "Hey, we're going to offer both." It's up to you as the consumer to know what you're doing.
And they offer both where there's not soil issues as well.
Correct. Yeah.
And somebody not knowing is going to go in and pick what they think is the better quality, even though they don't need it.
So if you're just going on for cheapest, now I always thought that hey, I'm looking for my investors to win.
Yes.
And so even though the investors don't know that this is something that I'm doing, and it's one of the reasons why we might charge a little bit more money, is it because it's being done the right way, right? Yeah. And so the same thing with this locksmith. So you bring up a really good point. This particular property that we were just monitoring on the camera that just went off is that I don't plan on owning this property for very long.
Yeah.
I mean, if I own it 2 weeks from now, I'm going to be unhappy, right? So I really don't care about the quality of the locks because my expectation is whoever buys it is going to replace the door and the locks and all that kind of stuff, right? So our locksmith has the ability, since he's constantly changing out other people's locks, and he keeps the parts.
Yeah.
And so he said, hey, look, if I can salvage any of the parts of this cylinder that got drilled out, I will do that. But if I can't, no big deal. So he does try and cut corners and save you money when it's appropriate. But he also knows that, hey, this is a flip house, and we wouldn't do that on a house that we're
totally
flipping.
Different story.
Completely different.
And we share that information with him every time we send him to a property. Hey, not keeping this one, going to be gone quick.
Don't care.
use whatever you got in your drawer, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
And he does that.
You know, that brings up another thing that we've got 2 minutes, so we'll get into DMO on the other side of the break. But before we do, real quick, talk to me about felt that roofers are using.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Yeah.
So many people don't know what that is.
Yeah.
You know, I heard you tell that one time, and I was like, holy crap, how many people have been screwed?
Yeah, well, you know, it's if the felt is an underlayment on roofing material is really a marketing gimmick. When you know if you're ABC Roofing and I'm XYZ Roofing, I mean, you obviously have the advantage because you're higher up in the yellow pages than I am, right? And the white pages for sure, right? And but you know, if you go out and make your pitch. You know, I could make my pitch and say, hey, look, you know, a lot of guys are using, 15-pound felt, and I'll use 30-pound felt instead, and, that's way better for your roof.
Won't charge you extra.
And won't charge you anything extra. So back when felt used to be made out of the material that kind of like the old Army blankets, that wool kind of stuff, and a roll of 15-pound felt actually weighed 15 pounds. A roll of 30-pound felt actually weighed 30 pounds. And so that's why they called it 15 and 30-pound felt. And it goes up, and I don't know if you've ever, I don't think most listeners have ever been up on a roof walking when there's no felt or the paper's not laid down, where you're just walking on the raw decking.
Yes.
And that's super slick.
Yes.
And so the steeper the roof is, the harder it is for the roofers to be up on there. And so what the thicker felt was for is really, it was less likely to tear on steeper roofs when the roofers were up there roofing the roof.
So the whole point of the felt was for traction for the roofer.
Safety for the
has
roofer.
Nothing to do with the quality of the roof.
No,
but people would use a better felt to upsell or to beat out competition.
Marketing
That's
gimmickry.
awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. You're listening to Right Path Real Estate Radio. Fun facts.
Good stuff about roofing and locksmith.
Yeah, right.
We'll get into daily method of operation on the other side of the break. Thanks for sticking around. Flipping Houses on Instagram is from Minnesota.
Yeah, nice.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Hey, good morning, PJ. Good morning, Jim. Good morning, Flipping Houses in my hair. Good morning, Nikki. Good morning, Christina. Good morning, Andy. Good morning, Ben. Good morning, Sean. Good morning,
she
Maria.
Flips her hair and she flips houses.
She flips her hair and houses.
Oh, nice.
As possible. Jet Lending also sets up a repair escrow fund to help you with repair costs. Jet Lending has originated over 2,000 loans in Texas, valued at over $250 million. Jet Lending will help you evaluate your deals for free and give you feedback on value.
All right, just reminding people on Facebook and Instagram, doesn't really apply to you too much, but we will not be on AM 1110. I think our last day is a week from today.
Correct. A week from today.
Yeah.
7800
so
or email us
if you
at
tune to AM 1110 from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., we will not be there, but we will be here on Facebook and on Instagram.
Super Investor Networking Meeting. Lots of fun, lots of
and all the rest.
All the other stuff.
We'll see you there.
Time is money in a real estate deal. If your insurance company is slow or non-responsive, you could lose a deal like that. You need a quick turnaround on quotes, binders.
That guy must walk around just looking at his feet.
Insurance Group of Texas. The team at Benchmark understands
the guy
the
that
investor
was at that
mindset.
house.
They know what
because
you need
it's the
and
only
when
way
you
you
need
could not see
It's
it.
there for you.
Yeah,
Houston's
it's
leading
crazy.
Real estate risk management
Because he
expert.
walks right up to
Benchmark
the
Insurance
door.
Group
Maybe
of
he's
Texas.
so
Several
focused
times.
on looking at the door that he's not. just
Yeah,
glancing.
but you think he'd at least see the
That's
locks?
281-569-4353.
Because he's like the note was right next to where the locks are.
Maybe his vision's not too good.
Are you
Maybe.
looking for an
Think he's got a
investor-friendly
fake eye.
general
1 minute.
contractor for your investment property? Then call Fast Track Remodeling at 832-742-9992.
I'll tell you what, he likes that
or reach us
MF
on the
word.
web
He
at
does.
FastTrackRemodeling.com.
Fast Track Remodeling specializes in turnkey remodeling of
think you
single
take
family
that out of
Some
his
people are
vocabulary.
just idiots.
Whether it's a flip
Yeah, I
rehab,
think you take that out of his
rental
vocabulary,
rehab,
it becomes
we
a
manage
mute.
every
Yeah.
aspect of a rehab from start to finish.
Nothing he says
with a
makes
highly
sense.
efficient,
I wonder if he'd
standardized
get out and
process.
charge me like
Over
that
the
if I
last
got out
6
of the
years,
car.
I don't think he
Fast
would.
Track has
Probably not.
completed
No,
over
probably not.
700 projects, which has helped us to create our 3 keys to success. Use a detailed scope of work so that everything gets done, train and maintain quality crews so it gets done right, and complete the work in a proper order so it gets done fast.
No more managing it yourself, no more doing the work yourself. Fast Track Remodeling really does manage it all.
So give us a call today at
10 seconds.
832-742-9992. Again, that's 832-742-9992, or reach us on the web at fasttrackremodeling.com.
This is Business 1110.
Mike's on.
Hey, welcome back. Welcome back. Right Path Real Estate Radio. Oh, one other thing just about the felt thing on roofs is that the felt that goes underneath roofs, what they call felt, really isn't felt anymore. There's more modern, even in roofing, there's technology being used and things like that. So it's really actually they don't even call it 15-pound or 30-pound felt anymore because it's not those weights. But the pound sign is that number sign like on a phone, right? And so it's actually number 15 or number 30. They still make two different thicknesses for the same reasons, but it's not even the same weight, and it's not really the felt. Yeah. It's got more of a fiber material in it.
Got it.
And so just wanted to
add
that.
I heard a funny joke the other day. Somebody was trying to tell the kid how to get into the gate.
Yeah.
And they were like, it's 2960 pound.
Yeah.
And the kid was like, what are you talking about?
Pound, what am I supposed to pound?
Pound. And finally was like, hey, 2960 hashtag.
Yeah, right. Oh, nice. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Now I get it.
Yeah. That's right. It's the hashtag
it's
symbol.
the hashtag symbol now. Everybody knows hashtag. Nobody knows pound.
Yeah, right. And apparently they don't know it's also the number sign.
It
right?
is.
Yeah.
Welcome to 2020.
Well, I know, right? All right. So, daily method of operation. I know I have a routine. I wake up pretty much the same time every day.
Yeah.
In terms of rolling out of bed, pretty much the same time every day. The time that I wake up seems to vary quite a bit. I don't know. It seems as first off, getting on this new product I've been on for about 3 months now. It seems like I wake up earlier, rested.
Yeah.
Now, and I'm reading more, and that's my time that I typically read. And then I saw that you put out a challenge for Duolingo. And
I did. I've picked that back up a little bit.
Yeah, so I need to do that as well.
Yeah,
that was a good contest when we.
Well, and it's awesome too because I noticed as I jump right back into it.
Yeah,
I've still retained most of the stuff that I learned. Yeah, it's like
that's crazy.
I'm not having to start back at the beginning. I picked up right where I was and am doing fine. So.
Yeah, so I have a routine like every morning, and it's whether I'm working that day or not. It seems to be even on a Saturday and Sunday. Even when I don't have to be on the radio show at 9 o'clock in the morning, that I wake up about the same time. I do some reading, then I hop out of bed about the same time. Feed the bearded dragon, get my spark. All of those things. It's the exact
feed the bearded dragon is not code for anything. He's really feeding the bearded dragon.
Yeah, right. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, no, really putting crickets. Putting crickets in the terrarium. Yeah, it really is. Oh man, and it's amazing how much that beard. I actually went last night, so I tried to go day before yesterday to buy more crickets because she went through 100 crickets in 2.5 days. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, she'll eat 30-something crickets in one feeding right now.
That's a lot of crickets.
She's growing like crazy.
You're gonna have a full-size dragon.
I know, right? And
that's crazy.
Yeah, and so I actually bought a second cricket cage. So day before yesterday, when I went, they said, "Hey, look, we can only spare like 10 crickets." And because we have
the big 10 biggest you got,
and they said we have to leave the rest for our morning feeding tomorrow for all of our reptiles, right? And I'm like, oh man. They said, but the good news is we got a shipment came in yesterday. I think they ordered like 3,000 or 4,000 crickets at a time. So I bought 200 crickets last night.
Somewhere there's a cricket farm.
Yeah, somewhere there's a cricket farm. Right.
I wonder what the process of raising crickets is. You might, at as many as you're going through, you might have to start raising crickets too. So daily method of operation.
Yeah.
I think it's important, and a lot of people want to get into the specifics of what's the best DMO.
Yeah.
And a lot of times for me, it's not so much what it is you're doing or how it's layered or blocked out. It's the fact that you're doing it consistently.
Yeah.
And when you do something consistently, you can start to measure performance versus past performance.
Right. Sure.
And, okay, maybe this isn't the best use of my time.
Correct.
Start subbing it out for something different.
Yeah.
But you really can't figure that out until you start to actually have it set down to a series of events.
What I describe it as is it's setting up your assembly line, right? And that you can't start. Imagine if I remember when my grandfather used to have this aerosol packaging plant, and it started out as a division of like a paint company.
Okay.
And so they're mixing paint like Behr paint, but the brand was Cook Paints, and it was small. Relatively small compared to Behr and some of the other big ones in Sherwin-Williams and all the others. But they were putting paint, 5-gallon cans and then 1 gallon pails and all that kind of stuff. But then they built an aerosol packaging company to start putting paint in spray cans, right?
Okay.
Just to add that to their product line, right? So they didn't really have enough demand for spray paint to keep the line busy, so they let my grandfather run it other products through the same line and didn't really charge him for using the line, right? But once you set the line up, until you know and you've run the line a few times, you don't really know, what needs tweaking.
You don't know where the inefficiencies are.
Right.
You can't start to work on inefficiencies until you have a set operation.
Correct.
And I heard something the other day. Somebody said, hey, just go where the universe takes you. And it's like, you don't want to live life like that.
What if the universe takes you to a sewer plant?
Yeah, because you end up in all kinds of bad places following where the universe takes you. You've got to set what you're doing. Just like you've got to set your goals to achieve them.
Right.
Because fuzzy targets will never get hit.
Yeah.
If you wake up to start your day and you don't have a plan for that day, you don't know what's coming next in your day.
Right.
90% of the time, you're going to be wandering and wasting the time that you have.
Yeah. Here's the thing is if the universe takes you to the middle of the Sahara Desert, you better, quickly and efficiently, or the Mojave, or any of the deserts, right? I mean, you better have a plan for getting out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to die in the desert.
Absolutely.
And so just wandering, because I find that people that just kind of wander based on where the universe takes them, they don't accomplish a whole lot in life. But, But you could say they're successful because they accomplished everything they set out to, which was nothing. I think it was in Game Changers that the guy that set the record for completing the Appalachian Trail.
Yeah.
I don't think he was waking up in the morning just wondering where the universe was going to take him.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a plan that he had prepared for.
Yes.
He knew the direction.
It was all mapped out ahead of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Knew exactly what he was
he
going to do.
accomplished his goal. And I think that without a plan, you're going to end up exactly where you plan to be. And if you plan on being nowhere, that's where you're going to be a year from now, or 3 years from now, or 5 years from now.
They say success leaves clues, and I think that's one of the biggest clues that you can take away from successful people.
Yes.
Especially ultra successful people, is they don't leave their calendar open to interpretation. They know exactly what they're doing. They wake up, they do it every day. Things like reading and things like personal development and things to help you grow, those are things that you have to map out in your life. If you plan to get to them when you get everything else done, you're never going to get to them.
Yes.
You've got to have that blocked out. You've got to have your reading time blocked out. If you're not a reader, your listening time, whatever that is, whatever is helping increase your value to the marketplace on a daily basis.
Yes.
Because if you're not doing that, you're going to stay exactly where you are.
Yeah, absolutely. The great thing that we have in our society is that we have the ability to improve our skill set. And
yes. More so now than ever before.
Absolutely. Yeah. And in fact, I was thinking about that because we had lunch yesterday with somebody, and I was sharing a story. Like the very first time that I saw Tony Robbins was, I think, 1987.
Yes.
And I think you were 7. Is that right?
I was 7 in 1987. Correct.
And so that I saw him over at the Hilton on the Southwest Freeway, and that Hilton's got lots of ballrooms, and I've been in it since, and it's not a super nice Hilton. It wasn't even a super nice Hilton back then. And it'd be one thing to go, like, you remember the ballroom that we went to, the Bob Lanier ballroom?
Yeah.
I mean, I think he would fill up something. He'd fill up Toyota Center now.
Oh, for sure.
But it's like there were more people at that event than in 1987 when I saw him, and he had just released the book Unlimited Power, and just want to make sure that's okay. No, it's not. All right, and just I don't know that there were even 200 people in the room.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and got a chance to to go to lunch with him, and it wasn't a VIP thing or anything like that. It's just like
just invite him to lunch.
You and I going out to lunch, and you realize that he's just but he didn't just wait to show up where the universe took him.
Yeah.
I mean, he definitely had a plan of action, and he really studied what successful people were doing. I mean, if you know anything about his story, I mean, his real mentor was Jim Rohn.
Yep.
And worked very closely with Jim Rohn. And the good news is that it's not just about, because we see it on Facebook all the time. I mean, people are like, just I'm doing the grind, right? I'm just cranking it out. I'm
10Xing it, bro.
Yeah, right. But here's what I can tell you is that yes, it takes effort. It does.
Yeah.
But if you really study successful people, they're not working any harder than the people that aren't successful.
No.
But when you look at the things that they are doing, is that you can stay really, really. I mean, a guy sweeping floors is working really hard.
Yes.
In fact, I'd say harder than, I mean, physically, I don't work that hard on a daily basis, except for during my workout.
Yeah.
But I mean, so it's not like I'm working like that, but I'm being intentional about moving towards my goals in terms of the number of deals that we're doing, and it's getting properties under contract, and then I call it like processing sausage or working it through the assembly line, and then also tweak where is it that, what's the slowest moving part in our assembly line? That's really what you start working on. And so if you need help, developing a daily method of operation, or you feel like that you're tweaking your daily method of operation, really the main thing that you focus on is what can move the needle the most? What can I do in the next hour, the next 2 hours that will move the needle the most towards reaching my goal? And I think my guess is about 90% of the people that we talk to, the number one thing that they could do to move the needle on working towards their goal is actually setting a goal.
You hit that right on the head.
Because until you can't move towards the goal if you haven't set the goal.
Yeah.
And I think people don't oftentimes want to slow down and just, have that quiet moment. I mean, if you spent 2 hours today, if you're at work right now or wherever you are, if you're driving in the car, I mean, if you were to just sit and close your eyes and not fall asleep and just start to dream about what you want your life to look like a year from now or 3 years from now or 5 years from now, and just start journaling, writing that down on paper, and just saying, this is how many days a week I want to work. This is how many hours a week I want to work. This is where I want to live. This is how much income I want coming in. I mean, if you were to draw, like an architect draws the plans for a house.
You got to do that before you start building.
Can you imagine if an architect says, I think I just want to let the universe figure out what this house should look like.
Let's just get started.
Yeah.
Let's just get started. We know we need to do this first. Let's just do it. Well, where's the plans? How long?
Yeah,
how short? Just figure it out.
I'm sure we can all imagine what a house would look like if you just started building without a set of plans.
I've seen some of those.
Yeah, yeah.
I've actually bought and sold some.
Yeah, and so is it any wonder that if you don't have a set of plans for where you want your life to get to? Yes. And the good news is that, hey, this is a journey that everybody's got to figure out. I've been through this journey. I tell you what, in my early years, I fought the process. I mean, I didn't want to slow down enough to really. What it was is I didn't want to. When I was younger, everything looked enticing, and I didn't have the wisdom and discernment that I have today, because everything looked exciting, right? Yeah. And so as you get older, what you start realizing is that, hey, if you want to sail around the world, you won't do that and also become a balloon pilot. It's like you've got to choose between those, because there's only so many hours in a day, and so you have to start dreaming about what is it you want your life to look like. You're listening to Right Path Real Estate Radio. We'll be right back. Morning, Pa.
Good morning, Mr. Donald. Perry. I love it when he says morning, lads. Good morning, Donald. Good morning, Ashley. Good morning, Dawn.
Hello, real estate investors. Do you need a lender that moves fast at the speed of a jet to fund your investment properties? Jet Lending will help you purchase properties quickly with as little cash out of pocket as possible. Jet Lending also sets up a repair escrow fund to help you with repair costs. Jet Lending has originated over 2,000 loans in Texas, valued at over $250 million. Jet Lending will help you evaluate your deals for free and give you feedback on value, cost of repairs, and potential loan amount. Jet Lending is your fast and friendly hard money source for first-time investors and seasoned professionals. Call 281-872-7800 or email us at info@jetlending.com. Oh, and don't forget about our famous Third Wednesday Super Investor Networking Meeting. Lots of fun, lots of great real estate talk. We'll see you there.
Are you looking for an investor-friendly general contractor for your investment property? Then call Fast Track Remodeling at 832-742-9992 or reach us on the web at fasttrackremodeling.com.
Fast Track Remodeling specializes in turnkey remodeling of single-family investment properties. Whether it's a flip rehab or a rental rehab, we manage every aspect of a rehab from start to finish with a highly efficient, standardized process.
Over the last 6 years, Fast Track has completed over 700 projects, which has helped us to create our 3 keys to success. Use a detailed scope of work so that everything gets done, train and maintain quality crews so it gets done right, and complete the work in a proper order so it gets done fast.
No more managing it yourself, no more doing the work yourself. Fast Track Remodeling really does manage it all.
So give us a call today at 832-742-9992. Again, that's 832-742-9992, or reach us on the web at fasttrackremodeling.com.
1 minute.
Time is money in a real estate deal. If your insurance company is slow or non-responsive, you could lose a deal like that. You need a quick turnaround on quotes or binders? The agency for that is Benchmark Insurance Group of Texas. The team at Benchmark understands the investor mindset. They know what you need and when you need it. We're here for you. Are you a rehabber?
So the daylight savings thing wasn't something that was voted on.
Bundling your properties on a single policy will help save time and money. Benchmark has been in business for over 10 years, and we insure over 30,000 properties.
We had quite the situation.
Contact Benchmark about our exclusive investor package.
Oh, yeah?
Call us and let us show you what we can do for you.
Hey, Rick, how long do we have?
569-4353.
About 15 seconds.
281-569-4353. Or online at benchmarkbroker.com.
Yeah, it was.
That's benchmark.
10 seconds.
Just not smooth.
That's 281-569-4353.
There was shouting and tears involved.
Or online at benchmarkbroker.com.
Wow.
Okay. This is Business 1110.
Mic's on.
Hey, welcome back. Welcome back. Right Path Real Estate Radio. My name's Tom Perry. I'm the host of the show. We're talking about daily method of operation today. Today is Wednesday, the 6th. Yeah.
Hump day.
Hump day.
So I was having a conversation with my youngest daughter.
Yeah.
And I try to teach some of these things to my children. And one of the things that I'd said to her, and it's something that I probably first heard Jim Rohn say, and as we're talking about daily method of operation, and the good news about it is it's never too late to change the trajectory of your life. Mm-hmm. You can wake up today, you can wake up tomorrow and decide, hey, you know what? Mm-hmm. My outcome is going to be completely different than what it was going to be.
Correct.
And I'm going to start today.
Yep.
So the same thing goes with your DMO. Mm-hmm. You can change that, and you can start it.
Yep.
If there's no goal in place, you can. I don't care if you're 25 or you're 65. Mm-hmm. You can start a whole new life.
Correct.
Today.
Correct.
You have to choose to do so.
Correct.
And then you have to set a plan.
Yep.
And then you have to be consistent in following that plan.
Right.
And through that consistency is when you start to see the inefficiencies.
Right.
And you start to see the things that you need to course correct.
Correct.
And that's one of the things that I think we're really good at here at Right Path is when we're working with people, we're helping them not just set the goal to figure out, hey, what's a reasonable goal?
Yep.
But what are the steps I need to take to start to move towards that?
Right.
And it's awesome to me to see someone in the beginning who is completely, I don't want to say illiterate, but goal illiterate. They're like, I don't even know where to set the marker.
Right.
Like, is this reasonable?
Right.
Like, hey, I was thinking about this.
Yep.
Is this crazy? It's
right.
like, you might even be shooting a little low or, hey, let's dial that down a little bit, right? But to see people go from there to, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months down the road to where they've taken over, like we were co-piloting in the beginning,
right.
But now they've kicked us off the plane and they're just giving us coordinates. Like, here's where we are.
Right.
Things are looking well.
Yeah.
And I just love to see that progression of people as they start to take over their own trajectory in steering their own plane.
Absolutely. Well, and that's one of my favorite things about what we do is being able to sit down with somebody and say, hey, let's just talk about what do you want it to look like. And most people say, well, it's interesting because like when I sit down with my daughter, she's 14, and ask her to dream about what her life is going to look like in the future, it's really easy for her.
Yeah.
But as we get older, it gets harder and harder and harder. And so because it's a muscle that atrophies if you don't continue to flex it.
And I think for a lot of us it's as you get into your 30s and then your 40s and so on and so forth, if so many people feel like it's too late.
Oh yeah.
They're like, you know what, I missed the boat.
Yeah.
And they stay stuck in that mindset.
Right.
And I truly believe that it's never too late.
Never.
And if you've got 20 years left, if you've got 15, even if you've got 3 years left.
Yeah, right.
It's how you're going to live those 3 years.
Absolutely.
Because what I can tell you is when you are in the state of constant progress.
Yes.
for me, that's true happiness.
Yes.
And I understand there's all different kinds of things that go into being happy.
Yes.
But I think in any area of your life, whether it's relationships or spirituality or finances, anything that you're doing, as long as there's a progress,
yes,
you're content, you're happy.
Right.
And I think it's when you're not, it's when you're stagnant or and I don't even believe that stagnant is a thing.
Yes.
Because I believe the minute you stand still, the minute you become still,
yes,
you're falling backwards because the world is moving on.
Yes.
So you can you can go two ways. You can go forward,
yes,
or you can go backward. You cannot stay the same.
Yes. I agree with that.
Well, thanks.
Hey, good morning, Donald. All right. So we talked about daily method of operation. What's your daily method of operation look like?
So I typically get up now, and we can lead into this. What happens when your daily method of operation gets interrupted?
Yeah, of course.
I see a lot of times because mine has been interrupted. It happens.
Yeah. Yesterday it got interrupted because we saw somebody on a camera that we needed to talk to.
Absolutely. Was in the middle of some things
right,
and had to drop what we were doing to go do that, right? So the plan for the afternoon changed, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it's about being able to handle those course corrections and then being able to get back on course when it's time. Right. And that, for me, that's just as important as developing the DMO is to be able to understand that life is going to take you off course at times, and it's up to you to course correct to get back. Right. So, I mean, I typically like to get up at 4:15. I try to get out of the house by 4:25, 4:28, somewhere around there. Right. And try to get to the gym by 5. Yep. And then I try to leave there by 7 so I can get here by 7:30, 7:45. Right. Get a little email responses and things like that from the night before. Yep. Done before we do the show. Yep. And then depending on what day of the week it is and what kind of appointments we have going, the rest of the day is open to interpretation, but I typically like to have that planned out. It's not fluid during the day, but it's fluid on a weekly basis. Absolutely. Like, what is that going to schedule out? Yep. The afternoons and things like that.
Yep. All right. So that's the thing with me is that on a daily basis, I wake up every morning thinking, okay, between Houston House Buyers, Quality Property Solutions, Right Path Real Estate, and then our ABC group now, which of those needs the ball to momentum in terms of the ball moving. So for me, that's what I'm looking at is like how do we advance momentum in each of those different companies. And so and then because sometimes it's like we've got a student for example that called me this morning that needs some help. I've been walking him through the process of dealing with a very unique situation, right?
Yeah, it's not something we'll get into on the air, but it's something we've never seen.
No, so I mean, I've never seen anything quite like it, and hope to never see anything quite like it again. It's one of those situations. So and so what you find is that life is what happens. While you're working towards your plans, but it's also important that you have a plan that you're working towards.
Yes.
And so I think sometimes people get so focused on their plan, and here's the thing: it's important that you measure how you're doing against your plan, not how you're doing measured against other people's plans. Because if you start doing that, then you may or may not get frustrated comparing yourself. Because depending on who you pick to compare yourself with, you're not on the same journey or path necessarily as what they are. And so the only person that you can measure yourself against is you. And I've talked with my mom recently about the same situation that there's people that we know that when you look in the mirror and you go, you know what, I'm exactly where I am today based on what the person in the mirror that I'm looking at has the decisions that they've made and the actions that they've taken. And until people start recognizing that, hey, it's not Donald Trump. It's not Nancy Pelosi. It's not, anybody that's in the state government. It's not, whoever wins the election between Tony Buzbee and Sylvester Turner. Yeah. It's none of those things. Even in the situation that I was in where when, the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare passed and back in March of 2010, I mean, I had to real quickly make the determination: do I want to whine and cry and blame, my situation on that, or do I want to get busy putting together a new plan and taking charge of what it is that I'm doing?
That's one of the things that I love that Gary Vee really, really pushes on is personal accountability, and it's like everything that happens in your life, even the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah.
Like, you chose to start an insurance company.
I did, right.
And you chose to start a business that could be affected by regulation.
Could be.
Now, did you get a better lesson in that in hindsight? Of course.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you chose to be on that path. And he even, he's like, hey, you got an accident on the way to work? Well, you chose to go that route.
Yeah.
Right? As long as, if you're taking personal responsibility for your life, you can truly be in control of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So many people want to go through life, and it's this person's fault that this happened, and it's that person's fault that that happened, and everything is somebody else's fault.
Yeah.
The constraints that puts on your mind as for what's possible for you, for me, it's detrimental, because you can never truly see what your potential is as long as you think your potential is tied to the actions of other people.
Correct.
You need to be in complete control of that, and then you can truly see, hey, I am capable.
Yes.
Hey, I can do this.
Right.
And you brought up a good point about comparing yourself to other people, and that's not always with your station in life and where you are now. But I've had people tell me, it's like they think that the schedule I keep, especially in the morning, like, dude, you're crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so maybe you're not a morning person.
Yeah, right, sure.
So have a DMO at night.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't matter. Know who you are.
Yes.
Be self-aware enough to know.
Right.
Because if you're trying to do something that goes against your nature, that, like, extremely against your nature, you're going to fail at it.
Correct.
So if you are not a morning person, but you're a night person, and you try to make yourself a morning person, you're going to struggle.
No.
So why not have a DMO for the evening? There's so many different structures you can do in your life that you don't have to match what I'm doing. You don't have to match exactly what somebody else is doing to have the same results. It's the fact that you have it.
Right.
And that you're focused and that you're headed in a certain direction. It doesn't matter if it's in the morning or in the evening or in the afternoon.
Another way to describe that is that, I've mentioned before that if you were to measure yourself on 10 different attributes and rate yourself on each of those attributes on a scale of 0 to 10, that on a scale of 0 to 10, because you could be a 0 at something, right? That you'll be probably a 2 or 3 at some things, and you'll be a 5 or 6 at some things, and you'll be an 8 or 9, maybe even a 10 at a few things. You won't be a 10 at all 10 things.
Yeah, I've seen that wheel, and it's like, hey, you need to have how do you get everything? And it's like, it's not possible.
No, it's
not.
not.
And you'll drive yourself nuts trying to make that wheel.
If you want to be mediocre at everything.
Yeah, you can be a 4 or 5 at everything.
Correct.
But you're not going to be a 10 at everything.
And here's the thing, like, to go along with what you're saying, if you're not a morning person, that means you're a 0 or 1 at mornings, right?
Yes.
But don't work at getting better at that. Work at the thing that you're an 8 or a 9 at to become a 10. But the thing is you got to figure out where that is, because I've got a lot of hobbies that I've learned. I've become a private pilot, for example, and I'm not active in that. But I know people that's all they lived. I mean, anytime they can be inside of a plane flying it around, that's what they do. I mean, I know people. I like to scuba dive. I've been certified as a scuba diver for more than 20 years. But I know people that every weekend, they can go out of Freeport, go to the flower gardens, or go to the Bahamas. Every vacation, it needs to be a scuba diving vacation. And I know golfing, right?
Yes.
I mean, I like to golf, but I mean, I know guys that golf 3-4 times a week.
Absolutely.
They eat, breathe, sleep, golfing.
That's what they do.
Yeah, that's all they do. Fishing. I mean, we know people that fish, and I mean, I know guys that like to be out in the surf in Galveston, but I also know other guys that like to be, Lake Conroe or fishing streams or fly fishing or whatever, and
keep the stuff in the back of the truck just in case they can steal an hour.
And then deer hunting. We know guys that they live for bow hunting, right?
Yeah.
And what I can tell you is you cannot be a 10 at all of those.
No,
just because each one of those takes time, and every minute that you're spending time doing one, you're not spending time doing the other. You're listening to Right Path Real Estate Radio. We'll be right back.
Hey, Ben, that's a victim mentality. That's exactly right.
Yes.
All right, so let me tell my voting story.
Yeah, go for it.
So they're not far from our house, like 2 neighborhoods up on the right. They're doing the voting there at the neighborhood clubhouse.
If your insurance company is slow or non-responsive, you could lose.
We go there. Ashley's car was at the mall in the Woodlands because she had went into town with a friend, and so I needed to take her to pick up her car as well. So kind of went on the way.
They know what
stopping
you
in
need
this
and when you
clubhouse.
need it. We're here for
There's
you.
like 8 or 10
Are you
cars
a
there. I'm like,
rehabber,
oh, this is beautiful.
wholesaler,
Yeah, sure.
buy and
Even
hold
got a
or
parking
flipper?
spot. Didn't have to park on the road or
Owning
nothing.
your
Walk right in.
property
Lady
on
was
a
like,
single policy
how's it
will
going? I
help
was
save
like,
time and money.
super excited to be here.
Benchmark
Never
has been
walked
in
up to a
business for
voting
over
place
10
without a
years,
line.
Yeah.
and we insure
So we
over
go
30,000
in and
properties.
like there's a
Contact
table of
Benchmark
4
by
ladies. We
email
literally
investor
go right up.
Hand an ID.
So
And
we
let us
both
show you
moved
what we
recently,
have.
obviously. So
281-569-4355.
the ID they have in the system, the address in the system,
281-569-4355.
doesn't match the address on the driver's
Or
license. So
online
that caused
at
some sort of problem.
benchmarkbroker.com.
So
That's
there was a
Benchmark
certain
Broker.
button that you had to click
That's
saying that it was the same person,
281-569-4355.
right? Well, this
Online
other
at
lady at the other end of the
benchmarkbroker.com.
table jumps up and freaks out and says, "You can't hit that button. You're not allowed to hit any of those buttons. If you do, it's a
Hello,
felony."
real estate investors.
What?
Do you need
And this
a
is like a
lender that
volunteer
moves
high
fast
school
and
girl,
easy
and
to
she's
buy
like,
investment properties?
"What?" So they
Jet
start
Lending
making
will
us
help
go
you
through this other
purchase properties
process, and then
quickly
the guy that's
with as
overseeing
little
the whole
cash
thing,
out of
he
pocket as
comes
possible.
and he's
Jet
raising his
Lending also
voice.
sets
People
up
in the
a
voting
repair
booths are
escrow
going
fund
shh
to help you with
to
repair
the
costs.
people working there.
Jet
Right.
Lending has
And then-
originated over 2,000
so
loans in Texas.
They're
valued at over
they make us fill out this
$250
green
million.
form, and then they
Jet
want us
Lending will help you
to
evaluate
sign
your
and
deals
initial
for
these 2
free
boxes.
and
Yeah.
give you
Well, one of the
feedback on
boxes
value, cost of
that we're
repair,
initialing
and potential
is
loan
saying,
amount. Jet Lending
hey,
is your fast and
my
friendly hard money
name
source
doesn't
for first-time
match
investors
the
and
name
seasoned professionals. Call
in the system.
281
Yeah, but that's not true.
But that's not true. And I said, why would I initial that? That's not true.
Yeah.
And the lady told Ashley, didn't even let her read it. She's like, hey, just initial here. You have to do that to vote. And I tried to stop that, and they got on to me for getting involved with Ashley's process.
Yeah, even though y'all are husband and wife.
I'm like, look, you're making my wife initial something that is false.
Right.
So then the voting guy gets in, and then he says, here's the problem. You were supposed to hit this button. And then this other lady's like, no, you can't hit that button. It's a felony. And then they start arguing and shouting. This little girl is crying.
Oh, no.
Fast Track
They end up having to take her outside.
Yeah.
It's this, I mean, it was crazy.
She'll never volunteer again.
And the guy that was like
every aspect of a rehab from
being the
start to
loudest
finish
and the
with a
rudest to
highly
everybody,
efficient,
he's like,
standardized
everybody
process.
just needs to calm
Over the last
down.
6
And I looked at
years,
him, I said,
Fast Track has
hey, bud,
completed over
you're the
700
one that's not
projects,
calm.
which has
Everybody
helped us
else
to
here is
create our
calm.
3 keys to success.
And he looked at me like,
Use a detailed
how
scope of
dare
work
you,
so that
Yeah.
everything
right?
gets done.
So they get the whole
Train
thing
and
worked out.
maintain quality crews so it gets
Ashley
done right,
had already gone
and
through
complete
because
the work
she
in a
initialed
proper
the things
order
that
so
she
it gets
shouldn't
done
have.
fast.
No more managing it
They
yourself,
fixed it
no
on
more
my
doing the
end. I don't
work
think it
yourself.
matters in the
Fast Track
grand scheme of
Remodeling
things.
really
Vote's
does
still going to
manage it
go.
all.
So give us
But
a
it
call
was like
today
10 seconds.
at 832
6:40 at night.
Yeah.
You guys haven't had this come up
Again,
all
that's
day?
832-742-9992.
Maybe
Or
not.
reach us on
Like,
the
that's
web
crazy
at
to me.
fasttrackremodeling.com.
And the way they handled it was just so
This
bad.
is Business 1110.
I had a totally different experience.
Yeah, in and out, huh?
Yeah.
Mike's on.
I'll just tell you real quickly. We were talking on the break about his election experience. I walked over from where I live to the election place, and a little bit of a line.
Yeah.
But the lady that came in behind me in line had brought her dog, a really cute Australian Shepherd named Hudson.
Okay.
Who had been cooped up in the house all day and apparently tore some things up inside the house
Okay.
and shredded some things. So Cooper was, showing his displeasure with being shut in all day, and so they weren't going to leave Cooper in the house. So they Hudson. Yes, sorry, Hudson. And so I sat there and pet Hudson the whole time inside the line. And
Okay.
he liked that, and it was good for me and good for him, and it was a win-win for us.
Everybody was happy?
And I went up, and I had a similar experience last time because I had recently moved and my ID didn't match. And I thought when you updated your driver's license, it automatically updated, but it doesn't. No.
We've learned that.
Yeah, it does not automatically update your voter ID.
It's always been fascinating to me.
Yeah.
How government systems aren't interconnected.
No, right.
You would think they would all be,
but they're not
on the same
because
server.
You really have totally different. I mean, you have the state government, you have the city government, you have county government, and you have federal government. Right?
Yeah.
Those are the 4 that we interface with mostly here in Texas. But
even inside each of those, and it's funny. When I went to have my wisdom teeth pulled a couple Fridays ago, filled out all the stuff online.
Yeah.
Got there, had to sign for all the stuff I'd filled out online saying it was correct.
Yeah.
And then they give me a stack of paperwork.
Okay.
And it's the exact same stuff
right,
that I'd done. And I said, wait a minute, can we just print that out? Well, see, that's for the dentist's office, and this is for the doctor's office.
Yeah, right.
And it's like,
doesn't the doctor and the dentist, don't y'all? Why do y'all have different stuff?
Well, because the actual surgeon, I guess, is he goes from.
He's an independent contractor.
Yeah, he goes from office to office, right? So they've all got to keep their own records. So I'm like, can't you just print yours and give it to him?
Yeah. No.
Do I really have to go fill out these 8 pages? And it's like, you think that these would intertwine.
Yeah.
But they don't.
Well, that's not our policy.
No, it's not our policy. Exactly. It's not our policy.
Hey, so today's Wednesday, which means that if you were not online with the live webinar, you missed just an amazing opportunity to figure out how to build wealth and income for your own personal life. And so if you would like to see a replay of that, what you need to do is email support@rightpathrealestate.com. That's support@rightpathrealestate.com.
I heard it was a really good one last night.
It was amazing. And so if you want to see a replay of that, then just email and put in the subject line just replay, and we will send you a link to that live event. And here's the thing is that we're trying to educate you for free.
Yeah.
And really what the whole goal of doing that is so that you can have a better future. And if you don't understand the numbers of what it means to have a 401k versus investing in real estate. In fact, I was reading an article this morning and it was talking about alternatives. But let me see if this is still up if I didn't close it out. Let's see. That wasn't in that. I may have deleted it already, but I saw it in the AP, and it was a link to an AP story. Is it here? No. Oh well, I may have missed it. But it was talking about alternatives to investing in a 401k, and it was ranking the top 3 investments.
And guess what number 1? Real estate.
Yes. In fact, what they said specifically was rental properties and vacation rentals. Now, we were talking a little bit about, legislation and how that changes. The only area that I'm really concerned about as it goes, like you may or may not, did you see one of the New Jersey, like for example, Jersey City in New Jersey, which is right across the Brooklyn Bridge, apparently from New York. Yep. They passed some legislation. It's more difficult now to do Airbnbs in that city.
Wow. And here's what I can tell you. I truly believe that while they may not regulate them the way some places will, I think at some point every municipality is going to start heavily taxing them.
I agree.
Because they're getting away with a lot of untaxable.
What's happening is people are staying there instead of hotels and motels, and there's definitely a hotel and motel tax.
Yes, and that's going to start to transfer.
Correct.
30 seconds.
If anything, I think it's even going to be heavier than probably what the normal hotels and things like that are. So, hey, we love pouring into you guys. If you need to reach out to us, if there's anything we can do for you, you can reach us at support@rightpathrealestate.com. If you missed the webinar last night, shoot me an email. I'll get you a link to it. We'd love to share it with you. Andy does a great job on that. We'll be back tomorrow for Build Your Team Thursday. Hope everybody tunes in. We'll see you then.
You've been listening to Right Path Real Estate Radio. Find Tom at rightpathrealestate.com. You can put the fear behind you and listen every day from 9 to 10 a.m. on Business 1110 KTE.